Hey y'all, thank you for joining me for this collective eclipse season reading. My name is Keita. If it's your first time joining me, welcome. What is going on with my shirt? That is. Um, um, yeah, if it's your first time joining, welcome. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. So in the month of September, we have two pertinent eclipses coming up, a lunar eclipse and a solar eclipse, and that is where the sun and the moon align. And the lunar eclipse is in Pisces, and it's going to be a full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces on September 7th, and that is where we will be led to release what no longer serves us and to make room for new seeds to grow. So it's like a purge for many of us emotionally and spiritually, and because that is Pisces energy. So if you have a lot of Pisces in your chart, this is something you definitely want to be mindful of, but it's going to affect the collective as a whole in some way or another. And then on September 21st, we have a Virgo solar eclipse, and that's a new moon. I'm recording this at the time of the new moon in Virgo. But our next new moon will be this September 21st Virgo solar eclipse. So y'all, I know many of y'all may be war wounded and wore out and tired and exhausted, and that's even more reason why you need to use these moon cycles to rest and recuperate from the ins and outs of the journey up to this point, but also needed to be in reflection, because what these eclipses are bringing in are revealing and also eclipsing out. It's very much an energy of endings and beginnings. Will play out over the next 6 months. Eclipse energy typically unfolds over a 6-month period, and the pace of how things will occur in your narrative will be specific to you and what you got going on and what you got going on in your chart, what you got going on in your life, the lessons that you're needing, the blessings you're needing to usher in. Like, the pace of your journey won't look like somebody else's, but typically over a 6-month period, the effects of the eclipse unfold. So I got a bunch of notes, downloads, tools that I want to share with y'all about this eclipse season energy, and we're gonna get right into it. So not only is it this Pisces, hold on y'all, why my thing ain't scrolling like I needed to. So not only is it a Pisces lunar eclipse, but Uranus is in Gemini for the first time in over 80 years, or exactly 80 years, something like that. Long time. And that's gonna be sparking like sudden revelations, unexpected truths, karmic awakenings, karmic release, and especially as it relates to how we think, speak, and connect, how we communicate, is going to change, or we're going to be called to communicate and think, speak, and connect in a different, more evolutionary way. And so we need to keep that in mind. Some of you may want to look into what exactly it is, Gemini energy is, so that you can get better acquainted with what's going to be expected of you by whatever comes up for you during this eclipse season. And then Saturn will be in retrograde. Like, it's already in retrograde in Aries, but it's going to be in retrograde in Pisces by the time of the of eclipse season. So you got that playing a part as well. And Saturn is considered the cosmic gift giver. So that's like getting back pay, the big payback. You know what I'm saying? Karmic retribution, overdue justice, some seed that you planted a long time ago but you never saw the harvest or reward of it. It's coming right in time for harvest season, with the fall equinox coming up in September as well. So yeah, as above, so below. Y'all see that light came on brighter? Definitely sign that things are going to be a lot clearer, and that reward is definitely coming in. You have not been forgotten. You have not cast your pearls before swine. So expect to have some reward coming in by way of this Saturn retrograde. And for some of you, it's coming in the terms of that apology you thought you were never gonna get, or being able to close out or bring some kind of closure or next chapter to some unfinished business. But Saturn's definitely taking care of old shit, okay, before you go into your new chapter. And so then we have Virgo season, which, if I'm not mistaken, Virgo season started a couple days ago. And so Virgo being symbolized by the Virgin, again, that new chapter, doing things in a new way, communicating in a new way, grounding in your 3D reality, new ways of being and doing things and showing up in the world, starting something brand new, like a virgin, like Madonna said, for the very first time. But all of this is taking place, and cosmic justice is being brought forth, or Maat, as it is known in Kemetic spirituality and spiritual cosmology, to help us align with divine order and truth. If you've been out of order with the way God has naturally designed things to be, a lot of the journey up to this point has been to get you there, and you're going to have more clarity about what that looks like. There's a lot of truth being revealed and coming forth, because that is part of divine order and Maat, operating in Maat, harmony, truth, justice, balance. So if you're not familiar with the principles of Maat, you may want to look into that. It's MAAT. And so those will be central themes. Like I said, right in time for Virgo season. And then there's just lots of Pisces and Virgo energy during eclipse season. So if you have a lot of some Pisces in your chart or some Virgo energy in your chart, you may want to look at where those placements are in your birth chart, and to see how you might be heavily affected. But again, all of us will be affected by the eclipse season and the energy that it's bringing in. So we'll be experiencing karmic release. We're releasing what no longer serves us. We're evaluating our dreams and our commitments. Like, we're having to go back to the drawing board on some things and take an assessment of where we may have been investing in things and people, relationships, concepts, ideas, identities that no longer serve us, and it's time to move forward from those things. And I received some downloads during meditation and in the dream state, some visions and some signs and synchronicities that really support the astrology that is going on. So there's really an overall tribal consciousness activation that has taken place by way of the AA portal energy. And if I'm not mistaken, the AA portal closes on August 23rd or 26th. Today's the 23rd. Either the 23rd or the 26th. Either way, you got a shadow period. So there's remnants of it. It peaked on August 8th. But it's been open since sometime in July. So that energy has come in to bring us light codes and activate us in a way that helps us to assess how tribal consciousness has affected us both positively and negatively. So doing that shadow work, but also seeing the light in being a part of a tribe of unity consciousness, so to speak. So if you haven't already, check out the Manifesting the Lion of Judah AA portal reading that I did for this year's AA portal, and it's gonna be in the monthly portal reading playlist. It's the last one that I did, and we talk a bit about the activations and the soul healing and energy work that the 8 portal was calling, or is calling, forth from us, so that we're better equipped to be a part of these collective units, to be a part of the one, to play our part and still stand in authority, you know what I'm saying, so that we know our role and that we play it well in terms of living out our life purpose and seeing the bigger picture of how what it is that we're called to do is part of something big that's going to contribute to the uplifting of humanity, to pushing forward a new, more elevated agenda, creating new earth, creating heaven on earth as a collective. So we got to do that individual work, right? And so that's what's being called for from us, to be the leader of the pack in some way, king of the jungle, authority figure, fathers in our homes, mothers in our homes, fathers in our communities, mothers in our communities, aunties, big sisters, whatever it is, whatever position of authority that is being called for from you, you're being prepared for that. If it's leadership in an organization or a community setting, whatever it is, you're just being led to stand up and stand out and not be affected by groupthink, which is that it's dangerous. Groupthink is very dangerous. So you being called to, we're being called to do our thinking for ourselves, as the old folks say, and to operate in Christ consciousness. So if you're not familiar with the concept of the Lion of Judah, you may want to look into that as well, and we're being called to step further into that, opposed to this material, superficial, patriarchal, performative display of leadership that we've been taught. We're being called forth from putting our value and our worth in job titles and positions, and what kind of cars we drive, and how big our house is, and how many trips we take, and how many social media followers we have. All of that is what the world has taught us leadership looks like, but God is leading us to see it in a more evolved way, as we all have leadership abilities. And what's coming to mind is that if you are a life path 1, I'm a life path 1. If you are a life path 1, this whole leadership concept is definitely going to be hitting you, if it has not already, like a ton of bricks. You were definitely created to stand apart from the crowd. If you don't know your life path number, you can calculate your birth numbers, birth month, date, and year, and you would need to simplify them down to the lowest number. So for me, mine being 3/21/1984, it all breaks down to a 1. And so you're definitely wanting to take a look into what your life path number is. And again, we all have the capacity to be leaders in some way or another. But if you are life path 1, yeah, that's, you were born for this shit, for sure. Also, the Lion of Judah aligns with the energy of Shango in the Orisha pantheon. And so Shango is a warrior. That's divine masculinity on full display. And he's the Orisha of fire, divine justice, and leadership. He teaches true leadership that is service-based, balanced, and guided by higher purpose, not by the superficial pursuits and applause of the world and the peanut gallery and the crew or your family. You know what I'm saying? Like, being a leader as you've been divinely created to be, not as the world benefits superficially from you being. So that does not include a huge ego or titles or some external recognition. So just making sure that your motive is aligned with divine purpose. I had a vision of a chief, a Native American chief with red feathers and gold, like, war paint on his face. And red feathers represent power, spiritual authority, vitality, life force energy. And the gold paint represents spiritual power as well, alchemy, having gone through some things that you are now able to turn, transmute, alchemize those tough times and those rough experiences, the fear and the low vibrational energy, the negative self-talk, and the abandonment wounds, the inner child wounds, all of that, being able to turn those into gold, to something valuable. So I saw a Native American man with the red feathers and the gold, and then I saw Shango standing in a forest and holding his axe, as he's known to hold. And then I saw him moving forward, and then I saw a green snake, and the snake was a really vibrant green, representing like having gone through a kundalini awakening and shedding skin of some sort, some old identity that you're releasing. But this snake was electric, like it had a vibrancy and electricity to it, like an eel, which Shango represents lightning and electricity as well. So that's like standing in your full power, shining, and accepting that you are the light, and that is increasing your wattage. So we have to also keep in mind that we're currently in the year of the snake, according to Asian spirituality and astrology. And so for many of us, we are definitely shedding old skin of things, the people, relationships, behaviors that would have inhibited us, prevented us, or have prevented us from stepping into our true leadership. That snake being green, green being symbolic of the heart chakra. We are opening our hearts and allowing ourselves to feel, to operate and come from a place of emotion instead of just logic. And we're doing it in a way that is electrifying. It is bringing us and everything that we are around, like, back to life. And so for many of you, you can expect, if you have not already, to feel more invigorated by what you're experiencing on the journey, the truths that are being revealed, and also what's being released. Because a lot of times the thing that's keeping us from feeling electric is what we were holding on to. So we're creating space for that newness. All of this speaking very much to masculine energy that is coming more into a heart chakra awakening. But that does not mean that we're just talking about men, right? Because the call for many a divine feminine is deepening the balance and the health of your masculine energy and your divine masculinity. So that's a thing. But you also exploring the shadows of tribal consciousness, which is the people pleasing, which is the being loyal to a fault, suppressing your feelings and watering down your creative or romantic expression for the sake of not ruffling feathers and going along to get along. That's a thing that may be coming up for many during the somebody keep calling me, leave a message. During the equinox season, and you're needing to explore why you might be dimming your light, suppressing your how you truly feel about things, or holding on to relationships. Is it for the sake of longevity? Is it for the sake of financial, material need? Or is it for the sake of being afraid of confrontation? Is it reputation that you are concerned about? You want to assess what's the root, right? And know that seeking other people's approval, trying to fit in where if you were actually operating as your true self, you wouldn't be. Hold on, y'all. I got to see who this is that's constantly calling me. Whew, okay. Now that I got that taken care of, that had my nerves bad a little bit. I'm trying to talk to y'all. Number keep calling. Then they got the siren going outside. But now that I know who that was and what that was about, we can move forward. We do know that there are no coincidences, so there is some urgency with that siren going off, as I was talking about getting to the bottom of why you feel the need to be loyal to certain people or things, beliefs, habits, whatever. And for many of you, it's people, though, because we're talking about this tribal consciousness and opening yourself to be more flexible and adaptable to something new, to moving in a different way. So there's that. Know that if you're not standing out, daring to do your own thing your own way, that you're not embodying your own individuality. And that is the whole point of the journey. That is the whole premise behind the dark night of the soul. So if you've been having a rough time, it is because the divine is stripping you of those things that kept you from showing up as the individual you were created to be. A whole factory reset. You are being jailbroken so that you can tap into the gifts and talents that you hid or didn't even know you had, because you were trying to be something other than, or somebody other than who you were created to be. So definitely want to keep that in mind, that is what is keeping you from walking boldly, loudly, proudly, confidently in your life purpose. And for many of you, with who you're meant to take that walk with. Because one thing for certain, two things for sure. If you're coming to find that you're aligned in some way with outdated groups or relationships in some way, be it romantic or otherwise, when you clear space with them and you end those, or you set boundaries in some way in those relationships, God's gonna, there's new higher quality connections meant to support you for the next leg of the journey that are somehow, some way coming in, because you're gonna magnetize that into your 3D reality. But you gotta do the work to create the space first. There are 2 archetypes, maybe it's more than 2 main archetypes that are showing up during this eclipse season. One being that of the rescuer, because you're either this person who's being led from mischief to chiefhood with the red feathers and the gold paint, being led from the effects of group think and the monkey mind, and the way your fears and illusion creates chaos in your mind. That's the mischief. Being led from mischief to your rightful place as a mature, empowering authority figure as a chief. You're either that person on that journey, or you're someone who has someone who is having that experience in your 3D reality, or in your, that's connected to you energetically some kind of way, and you're going to be called during eclipse season to support them in some way. And so that being the case, the archetype that is coming up is the rescuer. If you're that person being called to be of support, to hold space, you very much have a mothering, nurturing energy about you, whether you are a man or a woman. We're not talking about gender. And there is a part of you that attracts people who need help, be it through a listening ear, a warm plate of food, a hug, some time, some attention, some advice. Whether you do healing work, you in some way have a nurturing capacity, and that's going to be called forth from you to help someone. But you're needing to hold your boundaries. You're needing to make sure that you don't overgive in this situation, that you are being honored, and that you honor yourself. So you're needing to tap into, you probably already embody as a rescuer archetype, the energy of Yemaya, who is also a part of the Orisha pantheon and is known as the Great Mother, the nurturer. But unlike what society has taught us, you are not to give from an empty cup. You are only to give from overflow. Yemaya represents the ocean. So she has lots of love and nurturance and protection and sustenance and hydration to give. But if she were ever to dry up, we would be left destitute. You don't want to risk your well, your ocean drying up because you are over giving. And so you want to make sure that you are giving from your overflow. Make sure that you are in a good, healthy space to show up in whatever capacity that your Ori leads you to give from. Your Ori being your higher self. To make sure that you don't overexhaust, overextend yourself. If you are identified with the rescuer archetype, for many of us, because I definitely identify with that, you're empathic. You feel for people, you know. You're able to connect and resonate with their energy in a way where you feel it to some degree yourself, and you want to show up, you want to help, you want to use your resources, your time, your attention, your knowledge, your wisdom, your gnosis to assist as best you can. But you risk overdoing it. So you're just being reminded to honor yourself in how you show up and hold a space for people who approach you, especially during eclipse season and thereafter. Because that's a part of tribal consciousness. Every tribe got a medicine woman or a doctor or a preacher or a teacher who people go to for various benefits, but they all need boundaries, right? If you're not the rescuer, though, you are the trickster who is evolving from you're at the crossroads, like Eshu, another Orisha in the pantheon. You're at a crossroads where you're being led to go from this trickster energy where you've shown up kind of childish and inexperienced or playful, not taking shit serious as you should, and at a crossroads of, like the Bible say, as a man, when I was a child, I spoke as a child, but as a man, I had to put away childish things or whatever. Like, you're at that crossroads where you're needing to make a conscious decision to move from the trickster archetype, where you really was only tricking yourself. That's the mischief of the mind, where you was psyching yourself out of all that God has in store for you in the next chapter by trying to stay where you thought things were safe and familiar, right? And to move forward into the king archetype. And when I talk about the king, it makes me think of Shango. It makes me think of that chief that I saw in the vision with the red feathers and the gold paint, but also King Nebuchadnezzar and that story of this king of Babylon who was really concerned with being in authority and accumulating material things, but he had a dream that all of that shit was gonna come at risk of coming to an end, or that it was gonna come to an end. So he goes to Daniel, who is able to dream, interpret, or prophetize, and Daniel confirmed that, like, yeah, bro, this is that, right? I wrote some notes on it that I'm gonna share with y'all because I'm not as familiar with it as some of the other stories of the Bible. Yeah, it says one day he had a dream that no one could interpret. When the prophet Daniel explained it, Nebuchadnezzar learned that his kingdom wouldn't last forever and that human pride has limits. Even after this warning, he didn't immediately humble himself, and so eventually, because of his arrogance, he literally lost his mind. That monkey mind took over. It says he lived like an animal for 7 years, eating grass, roaming the fields, stripped of power. It was an humbling experience, from king of kings to a wild creature. And after this period, he finally recognized that his strength and authority were not his own, that they came from a higher power. His sanity returned, along with wisdom, humility, and responsible leadership. He learned that to play your part in this world, moving from your higher self and according to your divine purpose, it's got to be a lot less me, and a lot more we. But not from a people-pleasing space. It's got to be divinely led. It's got to be where God is leading you. And you got to care more about being in alignment with your divine purpose than what you pull up in and what people think about what you got on and who you got on your arm and all of that. Like, you can't give a fuck about what these people think and their opinions. You can't. So King Nebuchadnezzar learned to shift by way of a dark night of the soul and being factory reset to his more wild, rebellious state, to get out of that King of Pentacles energy and more of a Ten of Pentacles energy, to work toward things that are more long-lasting and abundant, longevity, commitment, legacy building even. So there are some crystals that I'm suggesting that you guys work with to help support you, that embody the energy of these eclipses. The lunar eclipse on September 7th being one of releasing and grounding. You should work with Apache tears. Apache tears are good for grounding and protection, emotional cleansing and healing, old wounds, releasing frozen subconscious patterns, regulating excessive fire energy. So if you've been experiencing a lot of excessive fire energy, which is what comes with the Kundalini awakening, with that snake energy, you want to work with Apache tears. And it also encourages appreciation for stillness, not feeling like you got to be moving and grooving and distracting yourself all the time, because that is what helps to replace negative thoughts with positive creation and action. So there's an affirmation associated with Apache tears, and it is: I affirmed that this world is my home, that I am grounded, safe, and protected. I release any wounds or negativity that might hold back my spiritual growth. And then there is the crystal that supports the energy of the solar eclipse that starts on September 21st, and that is ambergris. It is a mix of amethyst and I think it's like purple amethyst and green amethyst, if I'm not mistaken. And then it's got a little bit of white quartz in the middle. But it helps with mind heart integration, so that your mind and your heart are in alignment with one another. The decisions that you make come from that space and they're not at war with each other. Spiritual connection and compassion, emotional healing and psychic support. It releases ego-based patterns and past trauma and invites creativity that is guided by heart wisdom. The affirmation that is associated with the energy of Green is, I offer myself to full connection with spirit through the opening union of mind and heart. You guys, I also wanted to work with your root chakra, which is where that whole tribal connection energy is housed. One book that I've been reading with a wealth of knowledge on the topic is Anatomy of the Spirit by Carolyn Mace. She literally has a page where she's talking about in the chapter on the root chakra, how loyalty is a prominent concept in tribes, and how we it can help and also hinder us. And so we want to explore how the tribes that we're in, we may be showing up with victim mentality and not seeing how things are working for us and not against us. And also those explorations may lead us to explore like more of, where have we been putting our faith? Have we been putting our faith in these people and those connections instead of the divine? Some angel numbers that you may notice more: 1, 2, 3, and especially as it relates to the time. So in the 12 o'clock hour, where you see 1, 2, about 12:30, you may catch 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 2. Those type of things. It's either telling you where you need to simplify your life, or what you need to move forward towards. So use your intuition to be able to gauge that as well. I would suggest journaling when you catch those numbers, and then going back later on your own or with the help of an intuitive person, or you can contact me and I can help you to decipher what those angel numbers are saying to you. 1010, as you're closing out cycles and beginning new ones, will be a prominent angel number. 1111 comes to remind you that you're moving through a portal, and that you need to be mindful of what it is that you say and do and put your energy toward, because you are manifesting that. And then 1221, both numbers 1111 and 1221 also being symbolic of being on the twin flame journey and the mirroring that takes place in those connections. So yeah, y'all, that's eclipse season in a nutshell. I wish that I could chit chat with y'all a little longer, even though I'm pretty sure this is long enough, but I got somewhere to be in a minute. And so if you're needing a private reading, feel free to email me at turquoisemajesty@gmail.com. Don't feel like you gotta navigate this shit by yourself, because you absolutely do not have to. If you're needing a consultation, you can reach out for that as well. I have a shit ton of huge events coming up in September that I'm going to be announcing. So for many of you, if you're local, you have the opportunity to come and meet me and get an in-person reading there. But keep your eyes peeled, and until next time, y'all, peace.